I'm the Irish guy. All right, today I'm going to take a look at every Premier League club and find each team's one player who is going to have a rotten Euro 2024. Right, let's go. Arsenal, William Saliba, France. Oh, I think William Saliba is going to be a Euro 2024 flop, do I? After the world-class, yes, world-class season he has just had. This is all sorts of insanity, right? It's like if someone walked out of the cinema having watched The Dark Knight in 2008 and then tips the sequel to flop to be a worse film than Shark Tale. What am I talking about? Because Saliba is an Arsenal giant, a colossus of a centre-back, and I think he will leave Euro 2024 wheeling his suitcase through the airport, feeling lower than a constipated slug. Well, yes, because things are not rosy in the French camp for Saliba. This is somebody who Didier Deschamps doesn't really like. Yeah, the guy has started a few friendlies recently, but still, the World Cup winning boss blasted him in March, saying,
"He is having a good season, but he also does things that I don't like so much."
Lads, have you ever heard Gareth Southgate ever talk about Harry Maguire that way? Somebody who over the last 5 years has provided more comedy moments than Mr. Bean. At his worst, he plays like if David Luiz hadn't slept for a month and was just living off Coca-Cola and cookies, living the life of a diabetic vampire. Saliba, by contrast, has been amazing, but this stinks of the American Port treatment. Someone who was a classy, peerless, title-winning defender at Man City and was never given a France cap, and now he has to pretend that he's Spanish, playing for a nation he only moved to when he was 16. It's actually outrageous how ungrateful Didier Deschamps is to have a defensive superstar like Saliba in his roster. It's a bit like if I suddenly throw away a delicious Sunday dinner into the bin just because a spider walked on it. Look, I think Saliba will initially start the first 2 games, but I promise you, if and when he's anything less than complete perfection, he will get ripped out of the team and replaced by Ibrahim Konate. Honestly, Saliba is getting dropped in the group stage. Just you watch. What did he ever do to Deschamps? What, did he steal his puppy and eat it for brunch? Aston Villa, Matty Cash, Poland. Matty Cash has had a long season. 46 games under his belt for Aston Villa at right back. I wonder if he's actually silently regretting his decision to desperately cram international football into his life by randomly becoming a Polish citizen. I think he's going to have a difficult month. I think Poland are going to be chewed alive in Group D, losing all 3 games, and so poor old Cash is going to be tormented by the likes of Cody Gakpo and Kylian Mbappe. After such a long, grueling season for Villa, I think Cash is going to be a complete shadow of himself. I know he probably felt so unlucky to be born in the golden generation of English right backs. I mean, Luke Young got plenty of caps for England 20 years ago, and Cash is much better. But I promise you, after this horrible month, he is going to be envying the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Reece James, who will be having stress-free summers, having their coconut daiquiri served to them by monkey butlers on a beach in Greece. Bournemouth, Ryan Christie, Scotland. Scotland are about to have a hideous Euro 2024. I know there was so much optimism for the Tartan boys. What, 6 months ago? Lads, this is a team who legitimately beat Spain. Actual Spain. That result looked weird to my eyes. It was honestly like when I was a child and saw David Healy scoring a hat-trick for Northern Ireland against Spain before they became arguably the greatest international side to ever exist. Can you imagine if Scott McTominay had scored just 1 more goal that night to complete a hat-trick against the Spanish? I'm glad it didn't happen, because I think it would have probably burst a black hole in the universe. Right now, I'd probably be trying to chase an alien out of my kitchen. But listen, Scotland are completely off form. They've lost their spark and magic entirely, as proven by a really worrying defeat at home to Northern Ireland recently. Sorry, but they are a sluggish, disorganized team in a horrible slump, and so yeah, box-to-box midfielder Ryan Christie is going to be anonymous. Brentford, Ivan Toney, England. Look, Gareth Southgate utterly adores Ivan Toney. Of course he does. He is bringing an out-of-form Brentford striker who's only netted 4 goals all season. You know what this reminds me of? Euro 2012, when Roy Hodgson stubbornly squeezed Andy Carroll into his squad after a 4-goal season for Liverpool. He was leaving out an up-and-coming Daniel Sturridge, who just banged in 13 goals for Chelsea in a season where they won the Champions League. That was a strange decision, but I mean, Hodgson loves a burly centre forward. As we speak, he's probably licking a photograph of Christian Benteke, but I just have a feeling that this Toney pick is going to backfire. I don't think he'll get much game time at all. I reckon he'll get about 5 minutes in extra time of a quarter-final. This game will go to penalties, he'll step up, and this man is an ice-cool penalty taker at club level, sure. But I'm sorry, have any of them really been pressure pens? I mean, Harry Kane chucked a penalty over the bar in a World Cup quarter-final. Marcus Rashford is somebody who banged one top bins in the final minute of a Champions League clash at PSG, and yet even he fluffed his lines in the Euro 2020 final. Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard scored over 100 penalties between them, and they both missed in the same World Cup quarter-final. Toney's inclusion reminds me of when Hodgson brought Ricky Lambert to a World Cup. They're both in there in case they have to do a penalty shootout. But just watch Tony's knees start to buckle when he tries that slow, Pogba-esque run-up for his pressure penalty. And I'm telling you, Ivan is gonna miss. Brighton, bar for Brugge, Netherlands. The Netherlands have a very talented squad, but they don't have a proper number one goalie. It looks like it's gonna be 21-year-old Brighton goalkeeper Bart Verbruggen, who has just been embarrassed at club level by being left out of the team 23 times last season. Roberto De Zerbi chopped and changed his goalies more often than he brushed his teeth. This is not ideal preparation for a Holland team trying to win the Euros. And I know this has been a problem position for the Netherlands ever since Edwin van der Sar hung up his gloves. I mean, the likes of Martin Stekelenburg, Michel Vormtien, Kroll, Jasper Sillessen, they all very quickly became bench-warming slugs at Everton, Spurs, Luton and Barcelona. Talented goalies, sure, but they were both locked away in the dungeons of these clubs, probably eating dead spiders for breakfast. This is a nation who's been crying out for a world-class goalkeeper for years, and yet they're now having to hang their hat on somebody who's been messed around all season by Brighton. Sorry lads, but I think Holland are going to lose to both Austria and France, and heavily against France, by the way. This is going to be the reverse of that time they smashed France 4-1 at Euro 2008. Verbruggen, he's going to have a Rob Green moment. Chelsea, Georgia Petrovic, Serbia. I'll be honest, I don't get it with Georgia Petrovic. Many Chelsea fans are perfectly happy with this 24-year-old goalie between the sticks, but me, I'm not impressed. Look, I know Petrovic is not the Serbian #1 goalie anyway. It's Predrag Rajkovic, the 28-year-old Real Mallorca #1. But Petrovic's ego, I mean, come on, he's a Chelsea goalie. He officially relegated the most expensive goalkeeper to ever live to a loan spell at Real Madrid. He has squeezed a full Spanish international like Robert Sanchez out of the team, and you're telling him he's not able to get into a team over somebody who just finished 15th in La Liga. Lads, there's always a troublesome brat at every international tournament, causing a storm with a manager, like Andre Onana at the 22 World Cup, Nicolas Anelka at the 2010 World Cup, and no, don't even mention Roy Keane. He was sent home, okay? I mean, Antonio Rudiger has already got the stroppy trend going with his training ground bust up with Nicholas Fulkrug this week. That was probably got something to do with a very intense Champions League final they just played. And yeah, I think Petrovic, after a frustrating 2 games on the bench, I reckon he's gonna snap, pull an Onana and get sent home. He is going to be Serbia's Anelka. Crystal Palace, Adam Wharton, England. He's not gonna play. Look, a lot has been made about 20-year-old Crystal Palace midfielder Adam Wharton bursting into the England squad. And yeah, it is impressive. But I remember all this fuss about a teenage unknown like Theo Walcott being included in 2006. And he never played. He was playing for England under 21s 4 years after being in the senior World Cup squad. Make that make sense. Now he's just scored in the same match where Tommy Fury thought it was appropriate to do a throw-in underarm. What? But listen, Wharton has crazy hype right now, and he has links to Manchester City. By the way, Wharton, don't you dare move to the Etihad. Do you need me to show you a photo of a sad Calvin Phillips? Do you want to be the modern day Rodwell? I don't think Wharton is going to play a minute this summer. It's just going to be a very frustrating month. Everton, Jordan Pickford, England. Okay, Everton don't have many players at the Euros. Look, Jordan Pickford is a very good goalie and he's never let England down. So it won't be a horrible tournament. Personally, no, but you're not gonna win it. So that will be a 4th consecutive failed tournament for this guy. That is gonna hurt. Fulham, Timothy Castagna, Belgium. Belgium are not doing anything at Euro 2024. They really aren't. This is an absolute squad in transition. They need to flush out some of the old guards, and some of their newbies ain't nowhere near the finished article yet. This is a bit like England's World Cup squad of 2014. Just a mishmash of past their pros who should have been left behind. I mean, come on, Gerrard, Rooney, Lampard. Lampard was 35. And then raw youngsters like Raheem Sterling, Ross Barkley, Luke Shaw. It didn't work. I mean, that makes for a very weird changing room. Just an older clique in the corner reading newspapers, whilst the immature rugrats on the other side of the room debate about which Monsters Inc. film was the best. This Belgium team is that strange mix. And so yeah, it'll be a bit of a mess. And fullback Timothy Castagna is not going to be alone in shocking and weak, disorganized performances. Honestly, it's gonna be grim. Ipswich Town, nobody. Ipswich don't have any players at Euro 2024. Oh wow. That squad could really be in trouble this season. Leicester City, Wout Faes, Belgium. Remember what I said about Belgium being rubbish this summer? Look, on paper, Wout Faes gives me Fabrizio Colaccini vibes. And not just because the hairstyles were clearly chosen from an 80s magazine. No, Colaccini, like Faes, was a mega money centre-back dumpster flop in the Premier League at Newcastle, presiding over an embarrassing relegation in his debut season. Both Faes and Colaccini finished 18th in their first season, and if they were both sold then and there in the summer, they would be seen as dreadful flops. Yeah, Colaccini bounced back in the championship, helping Newcastle win the thing. He restored his confidence, was soon given the captain's armband, and went on to play nearly 300 games for the club, even representing them in a Europa League quarter-final. I have a sneaky feeling that Faes might be Leicester's Colaccini. And maybe that championship title win has saved his career in English football too. But I still think he's going to have a nightmare summer. He'll be bullied off the ball with ease, splutter and choke. It's going to be a pretty dreadful tournament. Liverpool, Andy Robertson, Scotland. Sorry lads, but I already said that Scotland are going to have a brutal group stage. And Andy Robertson has always felt like somebody who has been more of a club football man than an international one. Like a Ryan Giggs. He has scaled such incredible heights at Liverpool, but his Scotland career has just consisted of him apologising every year. Robertson's international career has not looked fun, and let's be real, he's been nowhere near as good for them as he's been for Liverpool. He strikes me as someone who's going to be a bit of a Rio Ferdinand, in that he's going to be a finished shadow as soon as he leaves his great club. Honestly, give it 4 years, and he's probably going to be some dehydrated beetle, embarrassingly getting toasted by lower league wingers, was as left back for Blackburn Rovers. And yeah, he along with the rest of his Scotland teammates are going to be destroyed at the Euros, especially in the opening match against Germany. Oh yikes, Florian Wirtz is gonna ruin you. Man City, Kevin De Bruyne, Belgium. Remember what I said about Belgium crashing and burning? Kevin De Bruyne is somebody who knows. He knows he's not winning anything for his nation. He already called out his Belgium squad for being too old at the last World Cup. So yeah, this will just be a nothing, anonymous, unmotivated tournament for De Bruyne. The whole team will have zero spark. He's just gonna look like an unmotivated sewer rat. 0 goals, 0 assists, and meh. It's going to be such a rubbish summer for Belgium. I mean, come on, instead of having arguably the greatest goalkeeper in the world between the sticks, someone who has just won the Champions League again. Oh no, instead, your number one is going to be somebody who is just signed for Al-Qadja, a team where Mbaye Diagne is a 25-goal-a-season superstar. Remember that chunky West Brom flop? Oh dear. Man United, Rasmus Hojlund, Denmark. Look, every international tournament has that one meme, that big-name player who just is a completely shocking competition and gets roundly mocked on social media. Sorry, Rasmus, but that's going to be you. What will compound this is that the big comparison out there right now is between Hojlund and Darwin Núñez. I mean, it used to be between Núñez and Haaland, but he quickly blew him out of the water. So yeah, just alter the name slightly, and now it's Núñez against Hojlund. I think Núñez is going to have an electric Copa America, helping Uruguay win the whole thing. Hojlund, by comparison, is going to continue his international goal drought, failing to score in any match. Lads, he's only scored 1 goal in his last 8 games for Denmark. And even then, that was only against San Marino, where he scored against somebody's postman. I mean, the other games in that drought, he's failed to score against both San Marino and the Faroe Islands at home. 1 goal against San Marino inside the last year for Denmark. That is not good. And so no. I remember when John Del Thomason blew the roof off Euro 2004 for the Danes, looking utterly spectacular. I remember his classy lob against Sweden, who he weirdly now manages. Hojlund will be nothing like Thomason. I think he's going to have an awful summer. Newcastle, Martin Dubravka, Slovakia. Martin Dubravka is an error-prone goalkeeper, and it is just getting worse with age. Lads, mistakes were always in this guy's game at Newcastle, but they've only become more frequent as he's gotten older. For example, at the last Euros against Spain, he faced his own goal and palmed the ball into his own net for one of the most ridiculous own goals I've ever seen. Yeah, he let in 5 in that match. Same thing here. Honestly, he's going to make a brutal, horrendous, unforgivable howler for Slovakia this summer. And then this former Manchester United goalie, don't forget. Someone who was once repeatedly linked with PSG. I reckon he's going to be sold to some desperate team in Turkey. Nottingham Forest, Matt Sells, Belgium. Nottingham Forest only have 1 player at the Euros. Goalie Matt Sells. I don't think he's going to play. It's going to be Cohen Casteels, someone who's now signed up for a life of, well, preparing to drink camel milk for breakfast. So, yeah. Next, Southampton, Che Adams, Scotland. I've already said it. Scotland are going to have a terrible tournament. And Che Adams, I mean, forget about scoring goals up front for them. He's barely going to touch the ball. I mean, over the 3 group games, Adams is going to touch the ball less than 40 times. Just you watch. Tottenham, Radu Dragusin, Romania. Yeah, I'm not expecting much from Romania at the tournament at all. I mean, lads, they just had the absolute dullest warm-up for this thing. How exactly are Romania fans supposed to get excited and enthused for this summer when their 2 warm-up matches were 0-0 draws against Bulgaria and Liechtenstein at home? I mean, forget about getting excited. Those matches probably forced the fans to hate football. Since 2021 alone, they've also had 0-0 draws with North Macedonia, Iceland, Kosovo, and Belarus. Boring, boring, boring. And so yeah, Spurs are to have Radu Dragusin. He won't be a complete joke at the back now, but they still won't go well for him. Or Romania, they're gonna lose every match. West Ham, Thomas Tuchek, Czech Republic. Thomas Tuchek is the Czech Republic captain, but he's gonna be very anonymous. No goals, no real impact in midfield at all. Bleh. Wolves, Pedro Neto, Portugal. Look, Wolves don't have many players at Euro 2024, no, but I think Pedro Neto is going to have about as much game time as Mini Minter had at Soccer 8. Anyway, yeah, I think Neto will be a 10-minute impact sub at the end of games for Portugal, but in typical Neto fashion, always going to snap his hamstring in half. Honestly, lads, considering he only played 12 minutes of Premier League football over the final 10 games of the season, when he returns the pre-season injured, Wolves are going to be fuming with the Portuguese FA. I think this might just be the end of their nice relationship with all things Portugal. Anyway, that's the end of the video. What do you think? Let me know who is going to have a dreadful one. Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a like and subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.